and welcome to the first edition of Hoops Hidden Gems podcast, season 5. Thank you all for being so patient. We haven't been on in a while, and the old system didn't want to work for a minute, but we are back for season 5. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Man, this has been a blessing. Year number 5. This is all about relationships. I tell people that every time. Tonight's first guest is no different. You meet people, and sometimes you meet them online, just watching what they do, and you admire what they do from afar, and you get to know a person, and you watch what they do, and then one of the best things about basketball is when you watch people put in the work, it's going to show in some form or fashion. And I say that all the time. When people work hard, and a lot of us get on players because they don't understand, when you put in the work, it's going to show in some form or fashion. And this person right here, just watching her grow has just been, I'm a fan. And with being a fan and watching her in her next journey, I'm excited for her. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have Coach Asia Foy, the new head coach at Oak Hill Academy women's program. For a lot of you men that know Oak Hill, we know Oak Hill of the premier prep program, and a lot of people didn't know that they had a girls program. So I thought it was great once she got the job to bring her on and talk about this. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to connect and share all the good things about Oak Hill.
So we're going to jump right into it. So for the people that don't know about Oak Hill Academy, especially on the girls' side, this is your chance to tell us about Oak Hill and everything that's going on and that you got planned for Oak Hill.
Yeah, so Oak Hill Academy is a 100% boarding school on the border of Virginia and North Carolina. A lot of people think that is in like the DMV area and things like that, but no, it's actually close to North Carolina. um, NBA Factory, and we all know the history of Oak Hill. Well, maybe we don't know the history of Oak Hill. It was the NBA Factory, still is the NBA Factory. We got a couple NBA prospects on our gold team right now, but it's a place where kids can come and focus on their craft. It's a place where you can eliminate distractions and just achieve greatness, right? Everybody wants to be great. Everybody wants the accolades that come with basketball, but to do something different and to really separate yourself and lock in, coming to a place like Oak Hill is a great place to do that.
Absolutely. So with you coming to Oak Hill, what's going to be your plan for the girls program?
Hey, with everything that I've always done in my career that I've had, my pre-career, right? It's been about one, most importantly, it's about equality, right? I stepped into this role knowing that there is no girls program, and it's my job to rebuild the girls program. It's my job to um, make girls relevant here at Oak Hill. I mean, obviously, girls basketball is blowing up, so us coming back on the scene is not going to be a problem. However, it's been a while since Oak Hill girls back. Oak Hill girls had a program, so it's about equality. It's about giving girls an opportunity to chase their dreams. It's about putting them in position to chase their dreams and really preparing them for college. A lot of my career has been um, one, as an author, it was all about what did I need to know when I got to college, right? So I did everything that my girls are trying to do. I lived that life, and when I got to college, there were things that I didn't know, or ways that I thought I was prepared, and I realized that I wasn't prepared. So I kind of went on this journey to, to piece together, what does it mean to be prepared to go to college? What are the things that I wish I knew, and then how do you go about instilling that in young people, right? Um, I got right into coaching after I finished playing, and I was at University of Kentucky for 5 seasons, and I was in a role where I could have, you know, jump here, jump there, but I wanted to stay where I was at because I really wanted to understand the cycle of recruiting and also the cycle of how do girls evolve when they get here, who is successful, who's not successful, um, the transfer portal. One of the big things that I did earlier in my career is managing the transfer portal. So using my personal journey, right, what I'm trying to figure out, and also analyzing what's actually happening in real time, people not being prepared to go to college and they don't like their situation, right? There are a lot of reasons why people go into the portal right now, especially because of there's money involved. But there was a transfer portal was before NIL as well, and it's because maybe they had a hard time adjusting. Maybe they didn't know how to adjust to the coach's lifestyle. Maybe they were homesick, right? Maybe they were so mentally exhausted that they just wanted a change, thinking that would be the difference maker, right? Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's things that you didn't prepare for that has caused you to have such a difficult time transitioning to college. And college is probably one of the most difficult transitions that you will go through, especially now that you're getting paid. So you're being asked to conduct yourself as a professional. You've always been asked to conduct yourself as a professional, but now you're actually getting paid money. So now the stakes are even are higher, right? And you have to get it, or you're gonna get, the coaches are gonna move on, right? They was moving on anyway, but now it's even more. You got a transfer portal. We're not worried about her. She need to figure it out, and it's not our problem anymore, right? So I say all that to say college prep is a very important piece to my life. And that is the basis of Oak Hill, right? You come here because you want to you want to get ready for college. You don't want it to be the first time you step on a college campus and you're away from your parents and you don't know how to cope. You don't have any tools to cope without um, going to your friends or going to the things that you are used to. You have to figure out, one, why you're doing this, and two, who can I lean on and how can I lean on myself to navigate challenges and perform at a high level for a long period of time. So that's the plan, right? To be the premier college prep place to go. Um, and pouring into girls and things like that. The good thing is Oak Hill is no stranger to that. And I just got lucky enough to be at a place that aligns with everything that I'm about.
Now let me ask this, and I'm so curious. I'm excited, but I have a million questions at the same time. What type of schedule are you? Is this going to be a national schedule? Is it going to be a regional schedule? What's going to be the plan for Oak Hill?
Hey, it's Oak Hill. It's Oak Hill invented the national schedule.
Yes, they did.
Oak Hill was the first program to take kids and go around the country and travel and play, right? So um, it wouldn't make any sense for us to be anything but a national team. And
Hmm.
Oak Hill Girls had a program, and Oak Hill Girls was a national team. They participated in Chipotle Nationals, was ranked as high as ninth in the country. So um, Oak Hill is a national program, boys or girls.
So, with that being said, is it just going to be a prep program, or are you going to have post grad? How is that going to work?
Yeah, these are great questions. So we're a traditional boarding school,
Hmm.
and because we are so successful in basketball, people people think that we're a prep school, but we're boarding school that prepares you for college, right? But we are traditional eighth grade through 12th grade.
Okay, okay,
So
and
regular high school grade and age.
okay. So you're just going to play like a national schedule, and you're not like, are you going to be like a Spire, or are you going to play like for? Are you a federation? That's why I said I had a million questions, and
Yeah.
that's why I was so glad to have you on the show. Are you going to play for a state championship, or is it just like you said, traditional Oak Hill? Y'all hit the road and y'all play the best of the best.
Yeah, hit the road, play the best of the best. Right now, we'll be fully independent.
Hmm.
That's the plan for right now. I'm in conversations with leagues and things like that, but um, we'll be independent. We'll play the best of the best and try to qualify for Chipotle Nationals. That will be the goal. That's the standard.
Hmm.
Our boys actually participate in the EYBL Scholastic.
Yes.
There's no EYBL Scholastic for girls right now. but we would model or play the same teams that our boys would play, even though the girls aren't technically EYBL Scholastic, but we'll play Spire. We'll try to play everybody that our boys play. We'll try to play them, and then
The IMGs, the Long Island Lutherans, the Mount Verds, uh,
exactly.
the Spires. Wait, so I would have to think.
Well, I didn't want to call teams out necessarily, but the best of the best.
Yeah,
That's the type of school that it is. So we'll be playing against, those type of schools. Um, kind of mirroring the St. James Academy played a full independent schedule this year.
hmm
So you really just got to go out and get your games. So
yeah.
and it
Like
worked.
either get your games or the Grind Session Women's is growing. That's another good league as well. And you could do it a bunch of ways, and I'm sure you are, because there's going to be. I'm sure by the time the fall hits, a number of people are going to say, "Hey, would you like to play us?" And because it's Oak Hill, and
I mean, the invitations have been started.
oh
I mean,
yeah,
I got a draft schedule of 30 games already. So I probably heard from every tournament director or event operator in the country. So I mean, scheduling games that's not an
that's
issue.
not going to be a
I
problem.
do
Yeah.
want to say this because you mentioned the state tournament, right?
Uh huh.
And I want to say this: you don't come to Oak Hill to win a state tournament. You come to Oak Hill to win a
With a
national
national,
tournament.
yeah.
So um, from what I'm thinking right now, we probably won't play in the state tournament.
hmm
But again, you don't come to Oak Hill to play in the state tournament. You come because you've outgrown that and you want to play a national schedule and you want to get ready for college.
Now, and I'm glad you brought that up. So, come August, September, whenever Oak Hill starts, I'm sure there will be a slew of college coaches coming to check out your players.
For sure.
Okay, okay. So, with that being said, will you guys play like in the fall before the season starts, like in some of those little showcases that they have before the season starts, those preseasons?
We'll probably play in a preseason and maybe in October.
Yes. Hmm.
But I doubt we'll play anything before then. I don't know. It depends on. I really don't want to show. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to show until it's showtime.
Okay.
But we'll definitely play in a in October event for sure.
Okay. Okay. Now, with this being a boarding school, and again, I like to ask these questions because people are going to ask me, and I don't want to say, oh, hold on a second, let me text her real quick, and but I mean that's going to happen anyway. Are you taking internationals? Or what's the scope of how Oak Hill is going to work in regards to taking players? Is it the best available, or is it anywhere, or are there limitations?
There are no limitations at all. A lot of the times in the previous teams, there were a lot of international teams. Oak Hill Academy itself, we're about 40% international. So
Wow.
we have a culture of international students. But I don't have a limit on who and what type of player. I want girls that want to play against the best of the best. I want to practice against the best of the best and want to be coached really hard to prepare for college. So I mean, I'm looking for, the best talent. And even some diamonds in the roughs, right? So, it don't have to be stacked with 3 to 5 stars. I want that player that didn't nobody know about, and they come to Oak Hill and they blow up, right? So
Hmm.
that's
That
something.
hidden gem.
Yeah, hidden gem. Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So, it's just about of girls that I have that are already on the map, now they have opportunity. Now maybe girls that are not necessarily on the map yet, they have opportunity to get better, to grow, develop, and then to get seen by being a part of Oak Hill. So I want that as well. Like I want to create opportunities for people who don't have them yet. I don't just want to get people who are already top of the line and things like that. Of course, you want a few of those, but you want to create opportunities because it's a good thing when somebody wasn't known, they come to Oak Hill and now they're known and they blow up. So that would be an ideal situation as well.
And I'm glad you said that. So the kids that want to come to Oak Hill to develop against some of the top is what you're basically saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, you as a team, right?
Hmm.
So, you a team can't be all 5
5 stars.
stars. Everybody's gonna be pissed, right?
Yeah.
So, it's a team, and so yeah, I mean, a mixed really it's about who desires to have this type of experience,
Hmm.
um, and it's an experience that it will, again, college prep. It will prepare you for college, and it will mature you very quickly, and also give you the exposure that you need as well. And learning how to be in the spotlight, learning how to create content, learning how to act as if you are a college athlete. Um, that's what we're trying to create. And again, it doesn't have to be all best of the best, right? Somebody who's going D2, somebody who's going low major D1. Everybody need to be prepared for the next level. And even if you choose not to play basketball at the next level, you been in this type of environment, right? Maybe you want to go be a manager at a P4 school and get a scholarship that way because you just want to get into coaching, right? So
Hmm.
this is a time where you really learn about yourself and really learn, what you want to be doing for the rest of your life and preparing for it.
I got a great question for you because, for the people that don't know, you were really big on the NIL side before you came to this. That's how we met. And you are, I consider, one of the experts on that, from an NIL space. How are you going to mix that in with helping your girls and teaching them about NIL as well? Because that comes from your book, Success is My Major.
Absolutely. Great question. I mean, it's part of the curriculum, right? It's part of coming to Oak Hill and being part of this program is, you just in the same way you're preparing for basketball and your academics, you'll be preparing for NIL, right? So being able to tap into my network and say, oh, I may need an agent, right? Or what was this contract supposed to look like and things like that, being able to advise parents, um, match my players with agents possibly if it's a good fit, um, and then also teaching them how to manage their money, how to manage themselves, how to build their brand. All of that is going to be part of the program.
Okay. Okay.
See, the good thing about Oak Hill is that I live with them.
Yeah.
So they got access to everything. Anything that I offer is going to be part of the program. And that is what attracted me to the program because in traditional high school, you don't have enough time with your players, right? Um, it's so much to teach them. And even if you are a very good coach and you have them for 2 to 3 hours a day, you can't really help them with the rest of their habits, right? They can straighten up for those 2 to 3 hours a day and then going back to doing whatever with whoever, right? When you're in a situation like Oak Hill, we basically control their habits. And they have to be responsible and they have to set themselves up for success to thrive in this environment. But we can help set the tone for what their day should look like from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep, right? So it's a lot to teach young people. So in this environment, I have the opportunity to not just practice, but now we're going to practice and now we're going to go shoot content for an hour, right?
Wow.
Now we're going to go do these community service projects. Now we're going to learn how to do interviews. So by the time you get to college as a freshman, you already know how to do this and you're comfortable with it. So that transition period when you are transitioning from high school to college is a little bit shorter. And it's significantly, um, now you can be efficient in your 4 years that you have to play because you're not sitting around sulking and coping about how to transition being away from your parents with all these new responsibilities that you've never seen before.
Coach, let me ask this question, and I'm always curious to ask these type of questions. What does it mean to turn a talented player into an elite player? And a lot of times, where does that process break down?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's your habits, and I think it's your approach, right? So I had the opportunity to work with May Hoop, so I was in charge of the middle school circuit,
Hmm.
and I went from college to I was speaking, doing IO consulting, and then I went and worked with Made Hoops. And now I'm middle school. So I go from watching college players to watching middle school players. And the energy and the intensity and the talent is there. There is no, lack of talent. Now, is it less people playing basketball, high school, stuff like that? Yes, we gotta deal with that. But the ones that are focused, the talent is there. So turning a talented player into an elite prospect is about the habits, is about the mindset, is about the approach, right? Because sometimes when you are talented very young, you feel like you can turn it off and turn it on, right? And I'm working with that with my AU program right now. With my AU program, I'm coaching with Boo Williams. Our team is extremely talented, and I coached 14U last year, extremely talented. But I'm on them about their habits. I'm on them about the way they walk in the gym. How much time do you put into warming up, right? How much time do you put into your nutrition, right? One of my players, super talented. She's getting write ups every day. I'm seeing a new write up on her. One of my AU players, and I'm constantly on her about the way you walk in the gym, the way you lead, the way you talk, the way you react to coaching, right? And it makes a difference, right? When you see watch these kids play, it's like, okay, wow, she's really good. But then when you go and hang with them, you're like, ooh, she got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Like, okay, she is 12 years old, actually. Okay, I see it. She is 14. Okay, I see it. So again, the habits, the approach, the maturity, all of those things. You'll be surprised how many players get to college and they fall off. And I don't think we talk about, as a women's basketball community, girls basketball community, I don't think we talk about the players that was all of that, and then we don't see them. We never see them in March. We don't even know what happens to them. But they was on every write up list when they was in eighth grade. Every evaluator was talking about them, and all of those things. But then what happened, right? I've even came across McDonald All Americans who has struggled, difficult, right? So the talent is now people are gifted, right? But there's no lack of talent, but those habits, that approach, that maturity, and being able to not feed into that entitlement. Because when you are talented very young, right, that may mean you have a trainer. That may mean you may be kind of spoiled because somebody has been able to allow you to dedicate your life to basketball at such a young age. So now there's some character issues, right? Now you think people owe you stuff, right? And you're gonna be very confused when you get to college and that coach is asking you to do something. You either need to do it or they're gonna just place you in the portal, right? It's not gonna be your choice to go in the portal. They're gonna put you there, or they're just not gonna renew your scholarship or whatever the case may be. So um, there's a big gap between talented players and actually having the habits, the mindset, and the approach to damn near being a professional.
Yeah. What you just brought up leads to one of my, last couple of questions here. Do you feel as in with this is your space as well? Do you feel as NIL has kind of convoluted things a little bit with some of these players when they're getting, certain players are getting exorbitant amounts of money, and then some of these kids that aren't even proven yet are thinking I deserve the same thing. Do you think that's been an issue, even in women's basketball? Do you think that's an issue when you start seeing the young 14 and 15-year olds, because they all pay attention to the 17U team, and they see that 17U team, and some of them go really high major and get really good deals. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't see an issue with the kids as a whole. It's more so the parents actually.
Okay.
I mean, the kids that I'm with that are 13, 14, 15, they're thinking about NIL, but really they just want to play at the next level. Now when it comes to the transfer portal, that's a different story. But coming out of college, the younger ones, they just think they're going to be rich anyway because if they're good at basketball. So we kind of always thought we were going to be rich, or even going to college playing basketball. We thought getting a Division 1 scholarship we was going to be rich. So I don't think that the entitlement has started at that age, like 14,
Okay.
15. I still think they are aspiring to just be like their peers that are, a few steps ahead of them. Um, Now the parents and the transfer portal and those type of things, I do think that kind of it's an issue for them. But I personally think it's a personal issue, because if you address it the way that you should address it, like, what's a good fit, and how long is this coach going to be here, or the program that I want to be a part of, then it's not an issue for certain people. So I think it's a personal issue, and I think that parents should seek advising on how to navigate NIL. And I always say go through the recruiting process like there's no NIL, and then let's say you got your top 5 schools, and then now you start asking NIL questions, or maybe you have an agent that's doing the work on the back end to talk about money. But I think that you should approach your recruiting as if there was no money on the table. And then once you decide, like, okay, I can't go wrong with these 5 schools. I love each of these coaches. I love each of these programs. Now let me see what can I negotiate, um, because now you're not making a blind decision just based off money. And I have seen that happen. And sometimes it doesn't turn out well.
Absolutely. In this last question, it's kind of from the heart, and because I see how passionate you are about a number of things within basketball. I mean, you've been a player, you've been a GA, you've been a coach. What is it that you want to pour into these kids at Oak Hill to teach them? What's the most valuable thing you want to teach them?
Yeah, the most valuable thing I want to teach them is self-awareness and personal responsibility. And you'll be surprised. And I mean, you probably experience this, you see it all the time, where you put so much into your sport, and you seek validation from all of these external places. And then
Hmm.
once you are done playing, or even if you transition, you could be playing very well, but when you're becoming a young woman, you have no idea. Now you're just going through the motions, and now you have nothing to really fall back on when it comes to just how you feel, right? So the biggest thing I want to pour into them is self-awareness, emotional intelligence, personal responsibility, all the things that are in my book. If you when you come on this hill for 9 months with me, you will be a better person, and you will have the tools that you need, not only to succeed in basketball but to succeed in life. And I wholeheartedly believe that.
Okay. Listen, this won't be your last time on the show. I'm excited to see what you guys do. I will probably take a trip up there in September to catch one of your all practices just to see what the
Hey,
team looks like. And, I want to get the sneak peek first before everybody else does.
hey, let's do it. Let's do it. You're always welcome.
Absolutely. And plus, I know I'll see you out as well, because if you coaching Boo, I mean, he's awesome. So, I mean, he's one of the forefathers of this. And so I like this so much of what you're doing. And when I first saw you getting this job, I seen this could go in so many positive directions. And I'm just excited to see what you do as you build this whole thing. And, I'll be a fan, and I'll be definitely keeping up as well. Okay.
Thank you. You send some of those Southeast girls my way, send them my way.
Absolutely, absolutely. They always ask questions. Is there any type of program I can go to that makes sense? You always get my blessings on that. So, listen, we're gonna be talking real soon, and like I said, I'll make my way up there. And actually, you actually dispelled a myth. I thought Oak Hill was closer to DC. I actually did. And if it's
Hmm.
right on the line, that's closer to Georgia. So that makes much more sense for me. That's a drive now.
Yeah, we are 5.5 hours from Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. I can do
um,
that. I can do that. Definitely,
and that's how
definitely.
long it take me to get home to Virginia Beach. So,
Okay. Well, listen. Like I said, I will see you. Matter of fact, send me your schedule for the summer, because I'll definitely come see your girls play. If I'm not already there at one of those tournaments anyway. Because I think Boo does one in April, right?
We'll be in Phoenix in April.
Oh, it'll be
EYBL
in
Session One is
it's
in
in,
Phoenix, and
okay.
then New Orleans,
That's where I'll see
Vegas,
you. I'll see you in
Chicago.
New Orleans. I will see you in New
Perfect.
Orleans.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so
So,
much for having me. If anybody have any questions, feel
how
free
can
to
they
find me.
contact you? Yeah, how can they contact you? Whether it be online, how do you want them to contact you?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram, super easy. Just type in my name. Twitter. I'm pretty active on social media, but they can also go to oakhillgirlsbasketball.com and get more information about Oak Hill.
Okay, absolutely. Listen, we will definitely be talking more, and I appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, take care. Listen, love her to death because what she's doing is so much bigger than basketball. She's educating these young ladies on a number of things that a lot of times people don't take the opportunity to spend with them and really give them the knowledge that they need. But this next guest, man, he's one of the godfathers too. It's my guy right here, hometown product. No, what more can I say? I mean, he's been on this show plenty of times. It's my guy right here, John Tate with the Western PA Bruins Under Armour. What's going on, brother?
How you doing, brother Dave? Good to see you again.
Oh man, good to see you. I'll see you in 2 weeks anyway. But
Yes, sir.
it's that time of the year to bring you on to talk about one of the biggest non-live period events in the country, man. The Western PA Bruins tip-off, man. So I bring you on every year around this time to talk about, man, this phenomenal event that you've built from the ground up, and now this is the place to be for that tip-off tournament that teams are looking for, man. Tell us about the Western PA Bruins tip-off, man.
Year 13, I think, for us. Year 6 in the convention center. Looking forward to it, man. It's a grind. You know what I mean? This time of the year gets really hectic for me, for my staff. But we're veterans to it. It's not new to us anymore, and so we're locking in. Final registration starting to come through. Starting to hone in on these fine details. We want everybody that comes to have a good experience, man.
Absolutely, man. Give us a sneak peek of some of the teams that'll be there, man.
Uh, my usual suspects, man. ABL, West Virginia Thunder, Team Takeover, Durant, myself, or, the Western PA Bruins, Michigan Storm, Team Brandon right out of Tennessee. Just looking for a bunch of really good teams. Comets out of Philadelphia. So Team Durant. I don't know if I mentioned them earlier, but looking forward to it, man. We always have YKS, who's really, really good out of the Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area. So really looking forward to it. We've got a really good mix of teams: independent, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, the New Balance League. We're looking forward to seeing some cross circuit matchups next weekend.
And that's what I love about it. It's the cross circuit matchups that I like. I mean, when it's the EYBL versus Under Armour. Is the Thunder coming this year?
They are. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Scotty's sending 16 teams, man. I mean, that's my guy. We don't even talk about it. I just got a text from I got a text from him last week. It was all his teams coming. He said before you called me, start asking me. Here's who's coming. So yeah, he's sending 16 teams. I mean, you know, arguably the best program in the country. What Scott's done, with that club has been really remarkable. I've had a front row seat to it. Him being one of my best friends in this business. So really proud of what he's built. I don't even ask him who he's got anymore. He's got everybody. So just looking forward to seeing them. In about 10 days.
You know, I want to ask this, and this is the first time you've been on the show plenty of times, but I always like to talk about the details. And with it being a non-live event, D1s can't come; they have to watch it on the live stream. But this is the chance for those D2s and D3s to really get in and get their hands dirty on some of these kids that are available, man. And what's your take on that, man?
It is, man. I tell you what, I look at it from a couple different ways, right? What we do typically 80 to 100 Division two and Division three and NAIA coaches throughout the weekend. and we're really happy about that. We work hard to put to get make sure they have a good experience by making sure the book's correct and things along those lines. The things that the thing that really I struggle with, and was talking to somebody about it today. I got a phone call. Is the number of local teams who don't come for whatever their reasons are,
Yeah.
who choose to go elsewhere, whether it be Erie for for a smaller event or stay home, or whatever it be, and they tell their families and their kid and their players that they're going to provide you exposure. Well,
Yeah.
there's no better if you could sleep in your own bed and play in front of 80 or to 100 college coaches. I need somebody to explain to me what exposure really is and how you're providing it. So that's the thing I struggle with. I've never been one. I know there's people getting their feelings and things emotional, and we beat you, we took your kid, I can't support you, I don't like John Tate, whatever, whatever. But I don't know how I could look if I was a coach or a director of a team within, let's say, a 2 hour ride, how I could look
Hmm.
to them and say, we're not going to Pittsburgh, and here's the reason, and it makes sense. That's just, that's just my thought on that.
Well, John, if that's the case, then you take the exposure piece out the window. Then, if that's the case,
Right.
because it's no longer about exposure, then,
Then
and
it's not about competition in either. You know what I mean?
oh
Because
yeah, definitely.
one thing that I know we work really hard on is bracketing and pooling teams that of the same caliber, class,
Hmm.
level, so that everybody's having a good experience. When people call me and tell me, hey, my team's this, my team's that, I tell them all the time, we don't want anybody to win by 40 or lose by 40. It's
Yeah.
not that's not a good experience for anybody. So we work really hard at making sure our pools and brackets are very competitive. And do some things fall through the cracks? Yeah, somebody misled us and said they have four D1 kids on their roster. They don't have any. They might end up getting their doors blown off. But it wasn't a purposeful thing, and that doesn't happen a lot. But yeah, I for one, as somebody who run, and I see it from both sides. As a club director, and as a tournament director, I wear both hats. But one thing I'll say, I've got between Central PA and Western PA, I've got almost 40 teams under our umbrella. And if a parent calls me and asks me why we're at this tournament versus that tournament, I can give them a clear answer. It's not because I
Hmm.
don't like that guy. I don't like the guy running the tournament,
Yeah.
or something silly like that. So, um, yeah, looking forward to it. Long story short, man, we're going to have college coaches there, a bunch of them. We're going to have nice national media people like yourself there, a bunch of them, and everybody that walks through that door is going to have a great experience because we work our butts off to make sure that they do.
Hey, I mean, I can second that. You absolutely do. When I tell people all the time when they ask me about the event, I was like, "This is a mini run for the roses." I mean, it's at the convention center. You usually have what? How many teams, man? I mean, it's a
Yeah,
lot.
we average about 375 every year. We've been as high as 450. Each when it falls on Easter like it does like it did last year. That we use a lot of young teams because they don't have to play. They're not getting ready
Yeah.
for anything. So we'll
Hmm.
lose a lot of younger teams on Easter on when it falls on Easter, which it does about every 4 or 5 years. But we'll be 350, 360 this year, and we'll go play and we'll have people have a really good time.
John, let me ask you this, man. Even though I live in Atlanta, I'm still connected to Pittsburgh. You know, how does the Tip Off Classic fit into your broader mission of developing and exposing Western PA talent, man?
It just we spent so much time when I got involved on this, man, and I decided that it wasn't enough for me to be a part of a club or to lead a club that was that was really good for Western Pennsylvania. When we started traveling the country and playing in Texas and Vegas and California or in Kansas City and Chicago and all these places, Florida, what have you. The thing I was always say is, hey man, we'll come to your event, you come to ours.
Hmm.
And what I it really worked twofold for us. I think a lot of the families, especially when we first got started and trying to push our envelope to become a national brand, thought we were better than we were. because we were so dominant in Western Pennsylvania. I knew from from having played the game all over the world that that didn't mean anything. But you don't know what you don't know, and
Yeah.
so it was important to me to show to get the best teams in the country here to us and let our parents know, yeah, we're good, but there's levels of this still. And if
Yeah.
we want to continue to, if we want to play at that elite level, there's elite level work that comes with that. Not to show the parents that, but the players that, right? Yeah, if you want to be an elite level player, here's a whole bunch of them. Where do you think you stack up against them? Don't just
Hmm.
play against them, but go watch them play, and then let's have a conversation about what it takes to be uh a top five, a top 10, a top 20 player in the country, and let's see how if we can get that done.
Let me ask you this, man, and I know the answer to this, and a lot of time for people that aren't, familiar with the Tip Off Classic, have you ever seen a player come to the Classic and quote unquote blow up in?
Yeah, I have. I'll be honest with you, man. I wouldn't know in our in the 12, 13 years we've been doing this, I really wouldn't know um I wouldn't want to leave anybody off, but I've seen players. I've had McDonald's. We get 4 or 5 McDonald's All American voters every year,
Mm.
and I'll go to dinner with those guys Saturday night sometimes, or we'll stay over Sunday after the tournament. We'll go to dinner and we'll sit and talk, and no rant about this player and that player that they didn't know about prior to the event, and that gives that player a chance to get their spring or summer off to a really fast start by making a name for themselves. I mean, we've had some of our players do it, whether it be McKenna Marisa, Michaela Presser Palmer, Alexa Williamson, Desiree Oliver. We've had our players. Then I've watched Kamora Hawkins, some of Scott's players do it. I watched Raven Johnson do it as an eighth
Hmm.
grader for FBC when she came up in eighth grade. Was playing in the elite when she was playing on 17U elite division, and was more than holding her own. And nobody believed she was in eighth grade. I mean, there's been a bunch of them, and so it's an opportunity, man. Again, for those who aren't afraid to compete, to come out and just do that. I think there's so much focus on the highlight and the viral and the Twitter post
Yeah.
and the Facebook post and the Instagram posts that parents want to share with their colleagues and their coworkers and their family, that competition is starting to take a back seat to what's real.
Yeah.
There, living in Western Pennsylvania, you think that there are clubs that have surpassed us based on social media. But if we want
Yes.
to the God's honest truth, they've never beat us. But they have an outstanding social media game plan, and that's their focus. And our focus is in the gym, man. It's always going to be in that. Now we've got to get better, and we as a club, my staff has because I'm old. I'm 56 years old. I don't care about what somebody tweets or posts. Let's roll the ball out, go play them, and beat your brains in. We'll talk about other stuff later. But it's important now that to these families and our players that there be a social media presence and excitement. So my staff has dragged me along with that. And I've gone, I haven't gone easily, but I've gone, and we know we're getting better at that. But I'm just always going to be a believer, Dave, that the game is such a wonderful game because it always is going to tell the truth. And no
Yeah.
matter how much you post, if I'm better than you on the floor, all your social media posts and your dancing, your AI videos, none of that matters when we roll the balls out. Because my teams, because we're better coached, we got better players, and it just means more to us. So, you know, the competition thing's gotten away from the game. I won't allow it to get away from my club, though. I just won't. The day that social media and and things that are non basketball related become the priority will be my last day.
Understood that. And John, let me ask you this, and this kind of ties into what you're saying. Uh, you know, a lot of people think, what would you say to those D2 or D3 coaches who don't attend because they feel like they can't get the caliber of player that's coming
Stop
to the
being
event.
lazy. Stop being lazy. There are far more D2 and D3 level players in our event than there are Division 1 level players.
Hmm.
Um, there just are. They won't get the social media notoriety. They won't get um the posts and the tweets and the things from the national media that's there. But what I'll tell you is there's far more Division 2 and Division 3 players that can go impact for a roster immediately than there are high level Division 1 players. There just are, because here's what nobody wants to admit: because of the portal, because of the transfer portal, because of NIL. Now, a lot of these kids that are on these elite level 17U teams or Division 2 players, whether them or their parents want to realize it or not,
Hmm. Boy, you,
because there's not
I'm gonna clip that right there.
because the opportunities for high school players
Are
are
dwindling.
shrinking at the
Yes.
Division 1 level. So if you're not top 5, 6 on a really good 17U team, you're probably a Division 2 player. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. But but people are brainwashed to believe that if you're not a Division 1 player, you're somehow lesser than. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're somehow you're the work that you've put in is invalid, and that's what So I would challenge anybody that these Division 2 coaches to come out and watch every level of play, understanding that you know the change. Some of these kids on these top teams are Division 2 kids.
Well, they're gonna, and I, I don't want to be mean when I say this. Some of those kids are going to be rebounds.
Right.
Some of those D1 kids are going to
Yes.
drop down to D2. And again, there's nothing wrong with that
And there's
because
and
we
there's nothing
always
wrong
talk about fit. Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with establishing those relationships now. And so,
Hmm.
I've always, I'm a believer in that now as I've watched these processes change, develop since COVID, about what happens and where kids fit and go and things along those lines. And if I was a Division 2 coach, especially in our region where there's really high level Division 2 basketball, we'll get the whole PSAC there because the PSAC
Oh yeah.
coaches know. But now we're starting to get Michigan, Indiana, um, New York, the DMV, and so that really helps a lot. But yeah, I don't see how you can't attend this event if you're a D2 coach who wants to be serious about winning.
John, oh, you said this is year 13. What moments have stuck out to you, throughout the years with this event? What stuck out when, whether it was a player, whether it was a team, what is
Um,
it that has stuck out about
the
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 moments
tip
that the
off?
moments that stick out for me, uh, take over FBC at North Allegheny High School when they were 1-2 in the country.
Hmm.
And we had for people who don't know, North Allegheny is a high school in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, and it's got 3 courts. Their main gym, we can divide it up into 3 courts. And so we had that was the 17U Elite Division Championship game, 2018, I want to say it was 2018 or 2019, and we had it in the middle of the 3 floors.
Hmm.
And there were so many people there that we had to stop the games that were running on the side courts because people were
The overflow.
there was overflow.
Yeah.
It was the definition of standing room only. And I'll never forget, that was Sunday afternoon. I'm driving back to my hotel that night. My phone's going crazy. And this was just when Twitter and stuff were getting going about, sharing posts and things along those lines. I got people from all over the country calling me, "How'd you get Takeover and FBC to play each other?" I was like, "I called them.
It's
Like they're friends of mine."
relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I met Mo in a steakhouse in Georgia. Mutual friend of ours said, "Hey man, you got to meet this guy. He reminds me of you." And we went to dinner one night in July in a live period when I was down there, and He said, "Man, I'd love to come to your event." And I thought no more about it. Okay, great. I hit him that following January and said, "Man, you might not remember me, but we met. Oh man, I already got you locked in on our schedule." I met Ron James in a DM on Twitter.
Shout out to
Uh,
Ron.
and so, you know what I mean? Now, those are, so, again, those are my guys. And so for me, it's always just been about being real with folks and expecting that realness in return. That's one of my standout moments from a personal standpoint. Um, the first year we went into the convention center, and I parked my car up front. We're doing the walkthrough. My staff and I were doing our walkthrough that Thursday before Friday gameplay started. And I come up those escalators and I see the uh uh the logo and stuff
Yeah.
on the LED screen. And I
That's
walk
one of
in.
my moments right there. The
Yeah,
first time I came, man,
and I walk
first of all,
in.
I was proud of you, man. I was
Right,
like,
man.
oh
Yeah.
man.
And I won't. I'm not ashamed to admit that one I needed a moment. Yeah, I mean, just because
Yeah.
it was really really emotional. Because I remember, nobody, very few of us. There's only a handful of us that are still around that remember Duquesne High School, one court, 9 teams is where it started.
Yeah.
In the schedule on the back of a napkin that we taped to the wall. And then like, that's the God's honest truth. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
you go from one court, 9 teams to a convention center. It overwhelmed me, man, and I was full of pride. I was full of gratitude for all the people who helped us get there because it's not a John Tate centric thing. We didn't open those doors to the convention center because of John Tate, but because of a whole bunch of people. And so, but they all weren't there. You know what I mean? So I was thankful and grateful for all of them. And just, the year, the first time I got to watch last year when I get to watch the little kid from, she's not a little kid, but the point guard from Durant, um, GG,
Oh yeah. Whew. Yeah.
special,
Yeah.
special man,
Yeah.
special. I don't want to do any disservice, but that's the more recent one. But those two. We had, and that was the year really. The FBC takeover year was the year that propelled us to the convention center. We didn't get there for 2 years because that following year COVID came, so we had
Yeah.
to cancel. We were supposed to go, but then COVID hit. We had to cancel. But that was the year we did 300 and some teams in, and I was in like 40. I was in 40 courts in like 27 locations, and that was very very hard to maintain, as
Yeah.
you can imagine. But
Yeah.
that put us on the map with the people at the people in the city of Pittsburgh and Sports and Exhibition Authority. Visit Pittsburgh Sports Pittsburgh. Now they're reaching out and things along those lines. And I'll never forget Jennifer Hawkins, who was director of Sports Pittsburgh. She calls me. She says, "Hey, somebody told me you had a tournament here a couple of weeks ago." I said, "Yeah." She said, "How many teams you had?" I said, 380 or whatever my number was. She said, "Well, why didn't you call me?" I said, "I don't know who you are." So I don't know what Sports Pittsburgh is. I don't know what Visit Pittsburgh is. I'm a basketball guy.
Yeah.
And, we end up going down to meet with her. We're sitting in her office, and she says, "What would you do if I gave you the convention center?" I said, "I don't know. I never thought about having a convention center before." But, that relationship really helped me get to, another level. My relationship with the people I select events, Maddie and Zach and those guys have helped me. So I'm a big believer in relationships, man. I'm a big believer in answering my phone when people call, and just passing on my knowledge and experience to people coming up behind me because I'm closer to the end of this thing than I am at the beginning. And I tell my staff all the time as we've begun the process of being less John Tate centric. Of the only thing that would break my heart is if this tournament, this club took any type of backward step when I stopped being a part of it because it shouldn't
Yeah.
be about that.
Yeah.
You guys should be younger and more energetic and have more fresher ideas. you should, if anything, you guys take it to another level. It definitely shouldn't be taking a step back. So those are things that I'm focused on, man. At 56, again, we're 2 weeks away from 2.5 weeks away from, you know, 350 plus teams coming in, and I am uber focused on every one of those 350 teams having a great experience. My national media guys like you having a great experience. My my college coaches having a great experience because that's what brings them back, man. People have options. You know, if you're AEBL, you don't have to go on a plane and come to Pittsburgh. Could you imagine? Have you seen the TSA lines in Atlanta?
John, don't even,
But
John.
I thought the keys to
Oh,
the day. I thought the keys to the day. You know, she's sending her EYBL teams. You know what I mean?
hmm
If you're in Nashville and you're Spencer from Team Brandon Wright, how many tournaments are you passing to get here?
hmm
I owe them. If you're Scott Johnson, right?
You can go
You
anywhere.
got the you're the number one club. You got the number one club in the country.
hmm
People will bend over backwards to get you to come.
Yeah.
He comes here every year. I owe him an excellent and awesome experience. My families who believe and trust me to shepherd their daughters' basketball development, I owe them an excellent experience, and that's what my focus will be over the next, over the next 14 days or so, 17 days as we get ready for this, and I'm excited about it, man. It's a it's a true. Going this has taught me the definition of labor of love, and we're looking forward to it.
Man, as we're talking about this, man, I got to give you your flowers, man. For the people that don't know, I'm from Pittsburgh, but I live in Atlanta. But I've lived here for 30 years. John is a few years older than me. He was in 12th when I was in ninth, so he was one of the guys, you know, coming up that we, looked up to, moving on to play D1. But when I got into this space, it was you, brother, that got me to where I am right now, man. And you know, your knowledge that you pass got my event from 30 to 70 teams this year, man. And I have to thank you, bro. Cause you didn't have to do that, man. The one thing I always take pride in, and people really like a lot of people that really associate with myself, when it's, oh, he's from Pittsburgh, it's kind of like a fraternity, and there's so many people from around the country that have Pittsburgh ties, and you've seen it myself yourself with some of the guys I've introduced you to, and they're like, man, you just pick up the phone, and I'll be like, well, yeah, that's what we're accustomed to.
Right.
That's the way it's supposed to be. And watching you build this thing, I remember telling you, I was like, hey man, I'm coming because I'm coming to support, number one. But I was getting my feet wet when I first started coming there, man. And as I started to grow, man, I never forget my roots, man, because you were a big part of this, and I'm always going to support it, man.
I appreciate it, man. Listen, I'm a big believer in no man or woman's an island unto themselves. I sit here and I stand on the shoulders of a whole bunch of people.
Hmm
Starting with a praying mother and a praying grandmother, because being from where we're from, it can go a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
Um, and I am as blessed a person, Dave, as you ever want to come across.
Yeah.
And I am a believer in being a blessing to others, because I'm here because somebody else blessed me. I'll be honest with you, I get frustrated when I call people who I know I've poured into and they don't return my call or text. It happens a lot in this industry, and I have to remind myself that everybody ain't built like me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There are people who have talked my ear off. Hey man, I want to do some of the things you've done from a club standpoint, from an event standpoint, and they might have me on the phone for an hour, 2 hours. And I text them, hey man, just reaching out. We had talked about your club coming to my tip off this year. Nothing.
Get ghost. Yeah,
That's never going to change me. I
man.
think it says more about them. And, but I'm never going to not, you know, if somebody calls me white, black, man, woman, and wants just some pointers on what not to do. I think that's where really my knowledge comes in the most, both as the club director and event director, is what not to do. Because there's a lot of ways to do it,
Yeah,
right? But the baseline of the things you should not do is fairly consistent. And I've learned because I've done all those things and then looked back and said, man, I shouldn't have. And
yeah,
so I dominate most of those conversations, you know, with what you shouldn't do. It's just like when you and I talked, you were thinking about doing some certain things. Like, Dave, I wouldn't do that if I was you, and
yeah,
here's why. You know what I mean? You have to be really cognizant of your brand, really cognizant of your time. And so I spend a lot of those conversations telling people what they shouldn't do because I can only tell you what works for me in my region, in my
yeah.
walk. But I know what doesn't work because what doesn't work typically doesn't work everywhere for a myriad of reasons.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's one of those things. And you said something powerful, man. A lot of people don't really realize, man. You know, no person should be left behind, and you should always reach down to help that next person up, man. And like you said, you never know what that blessing is going to be. And like you said, you're thinking of the people that were, very prevalent in our lives, and some we share some of those same people as
Yeah,
well, man. But nah, like I said, man, I couldn't leave this show without saying that, man, because as this thing has started to move in that direction, I never forget it, man. Like I said, when the first time I came, you was like, hey Dave, hey listen, you stay right here. I got you. Like, I'll never forget that stuff, man. I was like, man, if I had to drive, I'm coming. But I mean, I found a flight, thank goodness. But no, and you know, every year with the exception of last year, like, no, I'm there. Like, I can't wait. Like, even my son was like, hey, my son, he wants to come, even though he's not in Pittsburgh anymore. He was like, hey, I want to come work the event like
yeah.
I did the year
Yeah,
before. I mean,
him and his teammates did a really good job.
yeah,
That year they worked, man. And so again, it's just for me. It's all. Those are some of the things that go unnoticed to everybody else, right?
yeah,
The fact that I can hire and pay some of my former players, some of my friends, kids, your son and his college teammates. It's not a it's not a big thing, but I know as somebody who went to school in the pre NIL era, I understand what some of these non NIL kids are dealing with from a financial standpoint.
yeah,
So if I can put a couple $100 in their pocket over a weekend and feed them, makes me
yeah,
feel good. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because I
definitely.
understand, I understand what it's like to be a non NIL, collegiate athlete. Especially a man who might have a girlfriend, and, want to do something. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
man, I ain't got no money. Okay, well now you can do something. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So things like that, man. Those are things that on that drive home Monday after the event when I can really sit back and take it all in, take it all in. Those are the things that I'm probably most proud of, because I I understand we've impacted some things away from the court.
Absolutely, man. Before I let you go, man, and we didn't even talk about this, man. What's your team looking like this year, man?
We're going to be good. I am I'm happy, because we're going to be sneaky good, and first of all we're going to be really well coached. I've got outstanding coaches. Rachel Wojdowski, former college coach, 10 years at Division 1 level, should still be there. She's not there out of her own volition. Doesn't want to do it anymore. Been stepped away 5 or 6 years ago, just from a lifestyle standpoint. It didn't fit. It didn't fit. where she was at in her life anymore. Robert Cash, who's been with me for 15 years, should be a collegiate coach in some form or fashion. So teams are going to be really well coached. And then and Haley Zeiss, former Division I player, former player of ours, former Division I coach. I've got Shira Oliver's a Division II player. My coaching staff is really 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 good, and so I know my teams will be really really good. Henry Schechter, Oakland Catholic coach, just won the state title at 4A. My teams are going to be really well coached. So I know we're going to go and have a good product on the floor. I'd be lying to you, man, if I didn't tell you I'm super duper excited about our younger groups. Um, I got a chance to watch them. They've been together for the most part, those core groups in 2030 and 2029, 2030 and 2031 for 3 or 4 years. We've added some pieces to them. And, whether it's Jerome Lane's granddaughter, Chloe, who's a 2030 kid who's friggin' special, whether it's Grace Frederick, who, everybody tells me he's top five, top 10 in a 2030 class in the country. Um, we've got just a whole bunch of talent, man, in those younger classes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them play. Uh, then we've got it's funny, man, because when I look up at some of these 27s are now getting ready to be done with me, and I've had them since fourth grade. I forget that they've been here. That it makes me feel old. I forget that they've been here that long. You know what I mean? But Lauren Reeds, who's from North Catholic, Brady Wayner from North Catholic, Ella Vieira, who's actually a 2028, who's going to be on our 2027 team. From South Fayette, just won a state title. Layla Wright's a 27 on point guard from South Fayette, just won a state title. That team's going to be really good, man. It'll be really good. They're going to get after you. We got the six. We've got Kendall Halsman from upstate New York, 6'7". Has got every Power Five in the country,
Oh
other than probably
yeah.
UConn and South Carolina. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Calling about her. So that team's going to be more than competitive. I know Robert's going to have them ready to play. Rachel's got our 2028 team. I know they're going to be good with we got two really good Harrisburg wings on that team, Devin Archer and Tuda Hawkins. So again, here's the thing: we're gonna come out and play. We're gonna play hard. We're gonna compete. If you get us, you didn't get us easily, and that for me is we don't lay down for anybody, and if you don't come to play, we will jump on you and get you up out of there. And so looking forward to it, man. We got some of our teams, 10 or 11 teams on the east side start this weekend, and on the west side start this weekend. Everybody in the central PA starts this weekend as well. And then 2 weeks, we got everybody coming in for the tip off here, at the convention center.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it, man. You know, before I let you go, I remember when Keisha brought the team up from ABL for the first time.
When they were eighth graders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they're eighth
Yeah.
graders, and,
Yeah.
and and that, to be honest with you, when we talked about players that exploded on the scene, Morgan
Yes.
Reckley,
Morgan. Yeah.
Morgan
Yeah.
Reckley,
Yeah.
yeah,
She was, it was, I usually hang out when I need to sit down for a minute and get out of the noise at the convention center. I'll go sit in the little referee's room and, and BS with them for, 10, 15 minutes just to get out of that environment for and clear my head for a minute. And I was
mm,
sitting there and the one referee said, "Hey man, who is ABL?" I said, "That's that group out of Atlanta. I haven't got a chance to see him play yet. Met the director, real nice young lady. I got to make sure. I find some time to to go see him play." He said, "You have to make sure you find some time to go see him." Because little Morgan Reckley kid is unbelievable. I said, "You know her name?" He said, "Yeah," because I went over and asked her. I said, "Okay." I said, yeah, and she's so yeah. That's another one that when they came, jumped out and made a name for herself, and it's been it's been nothing but up, up, up and away since
oh
that weekend.
yes,
Yeah, and
absolutely, I can
Key
speak on
just told
that.
me that. I mean, that's why Key just told me that. Again. Keisha don't have to come. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But she understands what the event, what playing well in our event can do for
Oh
her kids,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
why she gets on that. That's why she'll stand in line for 3 hours at TSA. You know what I mean? That Friday morning, to get on the plane to come play.
Man, and you know what was ironic? I was on the same flight as them. I
I
didn't
remember you
know them.
told me that.
Yeah,
I
I
remember you
was on
told
the
me that.
same flight as them, and when I saw ABL, ABL is popular down here because of the Pro Am League that they have on the men's side. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, they got a team, okay, you know. And so, just out of curiosity, you know, since I'm there, I was like, let me go watch them play. I was like, oh,
Right.
who is
Right.
this?
Yeah.
And so then when I saw it, and that was the year those eighth graders went to Adidas and made it to the semifinals as eighth graders for 16U and lost in triple overtime.
Okay.
And yes, it was your event where I was like, okay, who's that? Once they got to Adidas, I'm sitting there with the coaches like, you got to see this team. You
Yeah.
got to see this team. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. And
Yeah.
by that time, everybody was believers. When they lost in triple overtime, bro, there was about 95 coaches there to watch them by that time. And
I believe
like
it.
you said, it's been up from there.
Yeah. Super talented group, man. Looking forward to seeing them this weekend or in 2 weekends. And again, man, I hate listing teams and players that I'm looking forward to see because I always leave somebody out, and I don't want
It's
to
too
offend
many.
anybody. Yeah, I don't want to offend anybody, but I encourage anybody that's listening, man, that loves the game, that's within a reasonable trip to come out, man. I promise you, you'll walk away super duper impressed with the level of talent in the facility April 10th, 11th, and 12th in Pittsburgh.
You know, I could speak on that. You know, the other thing I love the most, it's kind of like family reunion since we kind of up in age, and it's a testament to you because all the guys from our period always
Yeah,
come
man.
and show you
Yeah, man.
love, man. So
Yeah, man.
it's like
Yeah,
family reunion time. Some of those
yeah,
guys I haven't seen in 20, 30
yeah, man.
years.
I don't even have to call. We're at the point now. I don't have to call. I know Darrell's coming. I know Dapster's coming. Ricky Cannon's been through.
Mm-hmm.
Jason White comes every year.
Yeah,
Henry Chapman, whose granddaughter's got a chance to be really good.
that's my
Uh,
cousin.
yeah, Dariana's got a chance to be really good. She plays for us. He comes through, and we'll see Jimmy Weaver, coming through. So it's always a great time for me, man, when I can. We're all a little heavier around the midsection, a little bit more gray hair, or
Yeah,
a little less hair. But it's
yeah,
always good to see those guys, man, and tell some stories and laugh and just fellowship, man, because tomorrow ain't guaranteed. And
yeah,
I don't take for granted those few moments that we have to do that. I was just with Jimmers at a birthday party this weekend, and the place was huge, but I made sure I found my way over to him, and we fellowship for a few minutes because I love that dude. I mean, we've
yeah.
been we've been at it together in this game since we were 10 years old. With the college, we played against each other in Whitfield Championship. I can't tell you how many times I've spent in his driveway on Dolman Road, 7944. I'll know the address till the day I die, playing in the summer
Yeah,
with him and Rodney and all of our friends from our neighborhood to meet him in the Whitfield Championship game at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, to being roommates in college at UMass, to watch him create the all-time scoring record that'll never be broken. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I got to spend time with that guy. I don't care how busy we are. I don't care how big the
yeah,
place is. I got to let him know, man, I love you.
yeah,
And and so those are the things. Those are the things that this event, again, for me, from a personal standpoint,
yeah.
I know my guys are going to come down, and I ain't got a whole bunch of time because I'm busy. But
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna get to see them and you, people like that, for just a couple minutes, man. And
yeah.
it means a lot. It really does.
Absolutely, man. And you know, like I said, it's the pride thing more than anything to see what you created, man. So, you know, for me to even think about hating on that is beyond ridiculous, man. Like just seeing, you know, just being a support, man. Even if I wasn't, you know, a scout or whatever the case may be, man. It's just like you said, just coming and seeing some of the guys I haven't seen in years, and like you said, fellowship. Like I said, I usually see you two times. I see
Right,
you when I first walk in, and I
right,
may bump into you while you walking through, but I know what it is. But I'm just like, hey man, we talk real quick. You got to
yeah,
get on about your business. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, man, the event's great as usual. Man, have you seen this person or this person?
right,
And you on
right,
about your business, or I may be asking you, who is that on your team? Who's that
right,
one? I haven't
right,
seen that one. And
right.
that's that, but it's understood. Now this year, I will be doing some for the first time this year. I am going to the after hours event this year
We
because
look forward
KP
to
was
it.
on my head about that
Yeah,
this time.
yeah, yeah. KT asked me where you was at last year, so yeah,
Yeah,
again, that's my guy. Again, same thing. He gets invited to every event in the country every weekend.
yeah,
Paid gigs if he wants to
yeah.
show up and just walk through.
Hmm.
He won't let me give him anything. Man, you my family. I'm coming. And
Yeah,
so those are those are the things. Those again, it's the relationships that I've been blessed and fortunate enough to establish and nurture and cultivate over the years that have made this thing such a wonderful journey for me. That I can't shortchange it.
yeah.
I can't shortcut it. I won't rob anybody of an excellent experience because I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I got a headache. I'll push through it because I understand it's going to be a blessing to somebody in some form or fashion that I'm not aware of.
Absolutely, man. I I can definitely agree with that. Well, man, keep doing your thing, man. I know I'll do what I can to promote this. Whenever I talk to AAU directors, and if they talking about, hey, what's the next big event that I may need to get my kids in, especially on the girls' side,
Right.
I'm like, hey, man, someone asked about this event, and you know, if it pans out, great. But I'm always push your event, man,
Yeah. Again,
because
it's not. Listen, flights are expensive. The calendar has changed.
yeah,
With you've got if you were a New Balance team and you've got to now go to I want to say their first stop might be Minnesota or
yeah,
Wisconsin or something. It's hard for you to justify flying here,
the week
going
before,
home, and flying there.
yeah,
It just is.
yeah,
So I understand the economics limit to what you can do. There are things that we want to do
yeah,
with my own club that the economics dictate that we can. I would love, from a personal standpoint, to go to to the live period in Vegas every May. Just personally, I would love to
yeah,
be in Vegas in May.
yeah,
I can't justify it from a financial standpoint. So I
for sure.
understand when other people, other people tell me, "Hey, man, there's an event right here that my
Yeah,
families can drive to, that we sleep in our own bed because they have to fly to to Dallas, to Vegas,
yeah,
to Atlanta, to Wisconsin, wherever they've got to go for that live period stop. That's always going to take precedence, and so
absolutely.
I'm respectful of that, and I'm just appreciative of those that tell me that respect me enough in our relationship enough to tell me that rather than just not pick up the phone. That's my struggle.
Yeah, yeah. Understood. Well, man, you keep doing your thing, man, and for all you listeners out there, if you don't know about the Western PA Bruins tip off, it's a mini run for the roses because when you walk in there, the ambiance and all of that, it's on that level. When you seeing 350 to 400 teams up in there, I mean, yes, Run for the Roses is bigger, but from a non-live period event, I don't know many that are on this level. And man, it's a testament to your hard work over these 12, 13 years for the event, man. And just keep doing your thing, man. I mean, as a city, Pittsburgh's going to support you, and even the ones that don't live there anymore, we there, man. You know what
Right,
I mean?
right. Dave, I
So,
appreciate you, my brother. You know that. I'll see you in the 10th. You need me in the interim, give me a call, shoot me a text.
absolutely.
Don't forget that contact we talked about earlier. Don't forget to put me in touch with her.
Oh
I'd
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah, that as soon as we get off the phone. I mean, as
I
soon as we get off
appreciate
of
you.
here,
I
absolutely.
appreciate you, my brother. Good
It's
luck to you.
definitely, man,
Always a
definitely,
blessing to be on.
definitely. We'll talk soon, man. You
I
take
got.
care. All
Thank
right.
you.
Uh huh. Listen, that's my guy. I mean, we talk, throughout the year on a regular basis about a plethora of things. And I'm just happy for him to see what he's doing, and to support what he's doing as well. That's going to do it for tonight, the first show of season 5. Some quick announcements. Boy, have we come a long way. In the meantime of the 6 month hiatus before this show kicked off, um, a book has been written. It's called The Next Level. It's written by myself. I poured a lot into this because I get asked so many questions about the recruiting process, from a Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, NAI standpoint, JUCO standpoint, and I thought this was the perfect time to write that book and talk about everything from A to Z in that book. And I'm going to drop it really soon. I'll announce that date on one of these shows coming up, probably in the next few weeks. Um, Thank you all so much for your support on the podcast. Thank you guys so much for your support on the upcoming book. Thank you all so much for the team camp coming up, June 5th through June 7th. Last year was the first year, it was successful. We're going to double it in size this year, and I'm looking forward to that. With 11 states coming to Atlanta, thank you all for your support as well. I mean, man, I mean, I wasn't on the napkin like John, and listen, I I had a lot of lumps to learn as this thing started to take off, and just learning how to get these teams from out of state in here, and knowing what what needed to happen beforehand to get them here, and that's going to happen as well. And I thank you guys as well. But this podcast is not going to change. This is a platform to bring on coaches that people may not know about. This is a platform for parents to learn more about the process. This is a platform to talk to some kids so they can tell about their experience to get from being unheard of, possibly, or being a top 5 or top 25 or top 30 kid, and what it took to get them to this. We'll have all type of guests on this show this year, and I look forward to it. But that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you all, as usual, for tuning in. I mean, we're going to continue to do this thing as we've always done, and we're just going to keep moving and make it happen. So you guys have a good night. I'm David Jones, Hoops Hitting Gems. Good night.